Good afternoon. I keep saying good morning, but good afternoon and welcome to a Woman of Purpose sponsored event. We are so happy to have you with us here today. My name is DeSylvia Robinson, and I serve on the Woman of Purpose Board of Directors. Woman of Purpose is a movement inspired by God to empower women to discover, develop, and activate their purpose. Our mission is to shape communities by activating women to lead and to serve. We have a dynamic speaker here this afternoon, our CEO and founder of Women of Purpose, Lakita Gilmore. You can find out more information about her on our website, wopurpose.com. And you'll also find out more information about the rest of our board of directors and what we do, and also how you can partner with us. Just wanted to give you a few reminders for this afternoon session. This webinar is being recorded and it will be used for teaching purposes. We encourage you to be fully engaged with us here today. Please go ahead and use the chat function for your amens, your yes, and won't he do it? We welcome it all. We definitely want to dialogue with you. And also, please use the Q&A function down at the bottom for all your questions, and we will answer them once our speaker is done. So without further ado, we will turn it over to Lakita. Lakita?
Hello, thank you so much for joining today for this Woman of Purpose event. My name is Lakita Gilmore, and I'm so excited that you are joining today. We have a wonderful host. Thank you, DeSylvia, for introducing and telling us what is ahead for today. And so I'm so excited that I get to share this topic with you. So I will tell you, Women of Purpose over the last couple of months through this year, we have been looking at our core values, and you can find our core values on our website at wopurpose.com. And so the last one that we want to round out this year is advocating for communities, right? It's making an impact in our communities. And we believe at Women of Purpose, it is imperative and that it is important that we are advocating, we're serving, and we are leading in our communities. And we know that sometimes it can be difficult as women sometimes to find our space to lead or to make sure when we're invited to that table that we are giving 100%. So today we want to talk about advocating for communities. So if you go to the next slide, Sylvia. And I'm sorry, I'm plugging in to make sure that I stay fully charged for today's session. So the first slide is about me. Who am I? Again, my name is Lakita Gilmore, and these are just pictures of my family. It shows a picture of me, my mom and dad when I was young, all of them when I was young. And just to give you a little history about why I love to advocate and serve, both of my parents have served in their communities for as long as I've known them. Even when I was young, my parents had me going to elderly homes, and they would do services and they would do community outreach. Both of my parents worked in the prison ministry. And so I got the opportunity to learn how to serve and to lead, not just from watching them, but actually participating with them. And so I encourage you that if you have children or you have young adults or you are mentoring people, people are watching you. So as you choose to advocate, as you choose to serve, it's important to know that people are looking to see what your example is going to be. And I'm just so grateful that I had these two wonderful people in my life that did that for me. They showed me what it looks like to serve others. They show me what it looks like to help be that voice for those that don't have a voice. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about how my background of advocacy started. And one of the cool things about it is learning how to serve at an early age really just showed me how to be a better leader. So I truly believe if you want to be a great leader, you have to be a great servant. And that's where we hear the word servant leadership, right? And so even through my positions in my career with the corporate company that I work for and just boards that I've served on and how I've helped in my community came from my upbringing. So I would encourage you, if you're not mentoring other people to advocate, if you're not mentoring other people to serve, I challenge you to do that today. So if you go to the next slide, we're going to talk about what does it actually mean to be an advocate? and what we're going to talk about today. So today we're going to talk about, what does it mean to be an advocate? We're going to define, what does advocate mean? We're going to talk about why we advocate and serve. And then we're going to talk about, how do we build a culture, or how do we create a culture of advocacy and service? It's so important, but how do we individually do that? So let's go to the next slide. When we look at the definition of advocate, right, it is one who argues for or supports a cause or policy. So it's one who argues for, supports a cause or policy. And you're going to hear me today use advocate and service together, because I believe they go hand in hand, right? When you advocate, when you argue for, or when you support, you are serving. You are saying that I want to make sure that those that don't have a voice, I want to be that voice. I want to use the gifts, talents, and abilities that I have to make sure that I can help and serve others. So let's go to the next slide. So here's the thing. Why? Why advocate? You're probably saying, well, Lakita, I'm living my best life, my good life. Why do I need to do something for someone else, right? The American dream tells us to do what we need to do for ourselves. It tells us to excel. It tells us to, go to college, get your degree. It tells us to build a house, white picket fence. It tells us all these things, but those things, when you look at them, could be considered selfish, right? But to be an advocate for someone else, or to be a support, or to serve someone else, is greater than the good of just serving myself. So I love this scripture. I will tell you that when selfish gain, but to serve one another, to make our communities better. So if we go to the next slide, we're going to talk about now, what does that look like? Or how can we create a culture, right, of advocacy and service? And culture is the way that we do things, right? It's how we are known. And so we're looking at creating this culture in our local area here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. That's where we're serving. But no matter where you live, you should be working to build a culture that includes advocacy and service. And the reason why is because we want to make an impact. A woman of purpose is to encourage women to lead and to serve. We believe that we can build thriving communities if we take our rightful places, right? And for some of us, it could be a little hard, because you're like, what table am I supposed to be at? Who should I be advocating for? Who should I be serving? And we're going to talk a little bit about how to determine that and how to find that out. But the first thing is, we need to build that culture. And that culture starts within us and then those around us. So what are the things that we need to do to build this culture? I tell you, there's 4 things. If you go to the next slide, the first one is love those you serve. Love those you serve. I have seen abuse of people actually either saying they're serving or they're advocating for their community, but they're doing it more for selfish gain. I encourage you to love those you serve. When you do that, it won't be just a reward that you'll get because you'll have this self-fulfillment, but it will be genuine to the people that you are serving or advocating for. Remember, we talked about, to advocate, you're normally advocating for those that don't have a voice, or maybe they're disenfranchised in some type of way. So you need to love, and that love looks like respect. That love looks like honor. So we honor people that we get to serve. I had the opportunity of being on the board of directors for a local women's shelter in our area. And I loved it and I treasured it. But I loved the women that we served. even though they found themselves in some difficult situations, I never looked at them as though, well, that could never be me, or I'm trying to fix them. I looked at them with love and with compassion, saying that could have been me, right? So my attitude, my posture was first to love those. If you go to the next slide. So here's what John 15 and 12 says. My command is this. This is what Jesus is saying. Love each other as I have loved you. So it gives us a clear example of first to build up a culture within ourselves and around us that advocates and serves. We have to love. We look at each people, look at everyone with honor, respect, and we do it with dignity. We serve with dignity and we serve them with honor. So we don't look at people for serving the less fortunate, right? And maybe there are people that are homeless or they're on the streets. We don't look at them any different as serving them versus serving the queen in another country, right? We look at them all with love and compassion. If you go to the next slide. So I love this quote by Mother Teresa. Love is not patronizing, and charity isn't about pity. It is about love. Charity and love are the same. With charity, you give love. So don't just give money, but reach out your hand instead. Oh my goodness, I love that. I think sometimes we think advocacy is just giving money, right? And I think that's great because we do need donations, right? We do need money and funds to actually drive some of the things that we need to do in our community to make our communities better. We absolutely do need that. That's important. But what is also important is each of us being hands and feet on the ground. That we don't just write a check and say, hey, someone go fix this. But that we say, hey, I'm making this donation, but I want to help be the hands and feet. I want to go out and make a difference. I want to pick up that hammer and help build that house for Habitat for Humanity. Or I want to go out and I want to serve in our local community in soup kitchen. Or I want to go volunteer in a women's shelter and talk to women about self-care and mental health. Or I want to, maybe you're an attorney or maybe you're a business associate and you want to teach people new skills, right? That is us being the hands and feet. So it's not self-seeking at all. It's actually being a servant. So what's the next one? Let's go to the next slide. So the other thing is build together. In order to have this culture of advocacy and serving, we need to build together. One thing we need to know is that we are all part of such a large project of help and service, right? Not one person has it all, but we build together. And there's a couple of things that we're building. The first one is we're building relationships. So we're building relationships with those that we serve. We're building relationships that those we serve with. And so there are so many organizations. There's great organizations, especially in our local community that we have the privilege to serve alongside with or that we know. And if we don't have the skill, but my brother or sister has a skill in their nonprofit, guess what? We should be building and working together. So again, we're building relationships with those that we serve through genuine love, right? And also building relationships and partnerships, serving together. So when we're serving across community, we're each saying, and we're each raising our hand saying, hey, me, I want to serve. I want to be a part. I want to be a part of the bigger picture. Now, I will tell you this, we're all vital. Each part is vital. So when you're not serving and when you're not leading, there is something that's missing. But know this, we can do more together. So we build together. And the next slide. So I love this 1 Thessalonians. Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. Encourage one another and build each other up. It's truly important that when we have that authentic love and care for those that we serve, that we're not trying to fix them, we're trying to help build them. And let's just be honest, right? Most of us have been built up through the encouragement of someone else. And so we, in turn, should do the same thing. Next slide, Dee. So the next thing we need to do is learn together. So we're talking about advocacy and service. We're talking about how do we build this culture. And so the first thing we said was love, right? And then we said build. Now we're saying we learn together. One of the biggest things that I would encourage and challenge you to do as you serve and as you advocate for others is you look to see and even ask the question to God, God, what do you want to teach me? What do you want me to learn? I will tell you that you will learn if you allow yourself not to be worried about fixing people, but if you allow yourself through servanthood to learn, you'll learn things about yourself. You'll learn some great things about yourself, and you may even learn some areas of opportunities that you need to grow in. So it's important that we learn together as we serve. I will tell you, several years ago, I had the opportunity to go on a missions trip to Haiti. And it was a great experience, but I will tell you this, I think I learned more about myself in that experience than probably how I contributed, right? And I learned the importance of not being a consumer. I learned the importance of actually being a minimalist. I learned the importance of putting things in proper perspective. I had a greater sense of appreciation for what I have. And so, in situations where you're serving others, if you allow yourself, you will learn. You will learn how to be a better leader. You will learn how to be selfless and not be selfish. So one of the biggest parts about serving is how you learn and ultimately then leading to your personal growth and your personal development. So at Women of Purpose, we look at our opportunities. We just had an organization called Peace Promise come to one of our events, and we learned so much about trafficking, right? And the different things that are going on that maybe you don't necessarily know about, but we learned about it, right? So that what is the action that we can take place? Right. And so it's important for each of us that as we are serving and we're serving alongside each other, as we are advocating for those that don't have a voice, that we learn and we say, okay, what do I need to learn and what do I need to change within myself because of what I'm seeing? Right. And then what are the things that I need to learn so I can better advocate? Or what are the things that I need to learn so I can better support and serve these organizations? So we learn together. Next slide. So Dorothy Height, I saw this quote and I'm like, okay, this is amazing. Without community service, we would not have a strong quality of life. It's important to a person who serves as well as the recipient. It's the way in which we ourselves grow and develop. So here we're seeing here too that the service, community service, making a difference in your community does not just impact those that you're serving, but it ultimately, if you allow it, can impact you. So if you're looking for leadership growth and you're like, hey, I want to develop as a leader, I believe I'm a leader and I want to learn more, or I want to be crisp on my leadership skills, I'm going to tell you to go serve somewhere. Go serve somewhere. These are the traits. If you allow yourself, these are your character will be built up. You will be tested. You will be tried. You will be tested in your own thoughts, your own ideology, your own misconceptions about life. You know what else will be challenged? Your biases will be challenged. How you look at life, how you look at different groups of people, you will be challenged. And let me tell you, it will better you in the long run. So I encourage you, advocate and we serve, and it helps us to grow and develop. And next slide. So what happens when we do these things? When we love authentically everyone, we love those who we serve. When we build and when we learn, guess what? Ultimately, we will thrive together. You will see productivity and you will see change in our communities when we buckle down and we say, you know what, I'm going to advocate and I'm going to serve others. When we buckle down and we say, you know what, I don't understand this situation, but I believe I'm supposed to help tackle it, right? When you have those desires that are inside of you, and when you put your feet to work and your hands to work and you join alongside other partners and you join along other people that are serving, we will thrive. We'll thrive together as a community. You'll thrive together in your leadership, and we'll help to make our society a better place. So it's important that we use these key components, I would say, to make sure that we're building this culture of advocacy and also of serving. Next slide, Dee. So Proverbs 19 and 17 says this: whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done. So I would encourage you as you serve, right? And as you are the voice to others, that you don't look for selfish gain, but look to how you can serve, how you can make a difference. And I guarantee you, God will reward you. And it could be rewards in different ways. It may not be applause. It may not be accolades. But I tell you, when God blesses you, it's what you need when you need it. So remember that. We're not advocating, we're not serving for the applause of people. We're not serving and advocating for the likes of people. We're not looking for the likes on Facebook or the likes on Instagram to show people, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. No, it's about true transformation in our society. And we can't have true transformation in our society if we're self-seeking and if our motives for leading and service aren't correct. So it's important that we know that we're not looking for a reward from people or applause from people, but from a higher power, and that's our God and Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Next slide. So the question is, why? What is our reason? Why should we advocate? Why should we serve? And I say we do this for the next generation. We do it for our current generation, but we do it for our kids to come. We do it for our kids. We do it for our grandkids. We do it for our great grandkids. We do it because it's leaving a legacy. We leave a legacy when we make a difference in our community. When we invest in our community, we will see the return in future generations. We'll see the return. Some of that return may be immediate, right? We may see immediate return. Some of it may not be immediate. It may be long-term, but guess what? That is still okay. We're still making an impact, whether it's an immediate impact or it's one that we'll see over time. But I'll tell you this, I want my kids to live in a better world that we're living in today. And I absolutely agree that you feel the same way. If you agree, type in the chat. I believe the same way. And so this is our reason why. It's to make a better community. It's to make a better society, one that loves authentically, right? One that builds together, one that learns together, and one that will thrive together. Next slide. So that's our recap, right? So these are the words I want you to walk away with. So when I asked you that question, how can we build a culture, right, that is about service and about advocacy? We can build it through loving the people that you serve. Building together, right? Not thinking that I'm on my own island and I can do it myself. Serving along other partners, right? Knowing that they have what I need, and guess what? I have what they need, right? Learning together, learning about myself, what I can do better, learning how to be a better leader, learning how to be a better servant, right? And then thriving together. After we invest After, that's right, Cynthia, society transformation. After we invest, we will see true transformation. But I believe that our motives have to be so pure. Like I said before, there are people that take advantage of service or advocacy, and they look for self-gain. So it's important that we know that being a true servant leader means service. It means sometimes going low. It means that we will value others no matter where they are and no matter what situation they are in. So what's our challenge? Nope, D, you're right. What's our challenge? Our challenge is this: let's get to work. So you're probably saying, well, I'm not volunteering right now, and I'm not sure where I should volunteer or who I should advocate for or who I should serve. Where do you think I should go first? This is what I believe first. The first thing you need to do is find out, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? I believe that God places desires in our heart to serve him and serve other people, right? I truly believe that he puts that passion in our heart, and he'll say, hey, this is the group that you should advocate for, or this is the group you should serve. So I truly believe that each of you already know there's something on the inside, even as we're talking right now. I'm sure sometimes there are situations that we talk about a lot, right? And it makes us upset, right? Every time you hear it, this injustice makes you upset, right? Or something makes you cry, or it makes you weepy. That is a signal that God's trying to say, hey, this is where I've placed your heart to be, right? I want you to serve there. I want you to advocate there. I want you to be a voice there. And I will tell you, your greatest cry or your greatest prayer that you're continuing to pray about, that could be you, God saying, hey, you're part of the solution to that problem. So I would strongly encourage you to look at that. What are the things that you're passionate about, the things that you talk about often, or the things that make you cry, or the things that make you mad? Those are probably the areas where God's probably touching your heart to say, advocate or serve there. But just make sure when you're doing it that you keep a pure heart, that you always say, I will first love those that I serve. So my challenge is for you this: don't wait. I'm going to give you 1 week. Within 1 week, you need to make sure, because I'm telling you, I know you already probably know within your heart, I need you to find out, look in your local community to see that if you don't know a specific organization, you can always Google a specific cause and look to see how you can get connected and partner. I'm not saying you need to go out and start your own 501c3. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying go and partner with someone who's doing what you feel like you're passionate about, and go volunteer. If it's a big step and you're not sure and you feel scared, guess what? It is okay. It's okay, because you know what? Volunteering, serving, and being an advocate will take you out of your comfort zone. So I do strongly encourage you to take on this challenge. 1 week, write it on your calendar. 1 week, you're going to make sure that you're serving somewhere in your community. If you are already serving, I challenge you to do this. The challenge is this: ask, am I loving the ones that I serve? Ask, am I building? Am I learning? And am I thriving? I want you to ask yourself those questions in the chat. If you're going to commit to either those two things, you're not serving right now, but you're going to serve in the next week, or you are currently serving, but you want to make sure that your priorities are right. If that's you and you're going to commit to that, put that in the chat. I commit. That is me. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, that is all I have for you today. I'm excited to see what questions that each of you have. I'm looking forward to answering some of those. And so, Dee, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Oh my word, ladies, I was over here with my pen and my paper, and I was writing. I was like, slow down, slow down, slow down. I was ready to My paper looks crazy. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Lakita. That was packed, that was full, that was powerful, and we so appreciate you sharing with us today. Like we said earlier, ladies, we're definitely going to have some Q&A, so please use the Q&A function down at the bottom to submit any questions. Let me just, while you're coming up with your questions, let me just go over a few things that I wrote down that I don't know if was equally impactful for you ladies. Here we go. So one of my favorite things you said was serving also impacts you. How you look at life and people will change. That is so true. And that's the beauty of it. We're all growing together, right? And I love something we can just all walk away with. Love. Build, learn, thrive. That's something easy. Put it in your mind, write it down on a post-it note, put it on your mirrors, ladies, and remind yourself of what God is calling us to do in our communities. And again, God is such a full circle God. The things that we do outside will always come back in. So he's just beautiful like that. Thank you so much, Lakita. I love the culture begins in us and those around us. Same idea. Love those who you serve. My favorite things was you said, often when we are advocating, we're advocating for people who don't have a voice and are disadvantaged. And we have to make sure that love looks like respect and like honor. Love that. Love that. You said to serve with dignity as well. I love that. I have questions myself, so and I have a whole bunch over here. So let's get this started. We definitely have time, ladies. So if you're thinking, it's okay, I'll give you a few minutes. You have time to submit some questions. You spoke about genuinely loving those we advocate for. What are some things we can avoid when we're out in the community?
I think one of the big things we can avoid is thinking that we're better than the people that we're serving. I will tell you, I was at an event and I was talking at a fundraiser event, and it was for the women's shelter. It was for Shalom House in Harrisburg. And I was at this event and there were women that were very influential. And I'm sharing the stories of some of the women and the experiences they've had. And I remember afterwards I got done, I sat down, and one of the ladies gave me a check just during the event. And she was like, "This is for the Shalom House." And I just looked because I was surprised. It was, right after I got done speaking. And she said, "The story that you shared could have been me." She was like, I walked through domestic violence. I walked through these situations. The only thing she said that was different was that she had family that she could go stay with. And so what that really says is we have to be so careful that we don't look down on people for the situations that they're in. It's nothing but the grace of God. That's how I look at it. Nothing but the grace of God that maybe we're not in that same unfortunate situation. And so we have to be careful that we don't look down because we have resources or because we have the ability to do different things, that we look down on other people because of the situation that we're in. So if we look at them through the lens of love, and let's just say it this way, if we look at each person through the lens of Christ and how he sees them, right? That is what we have to always keep in front of us, is that we are looking at those that we serve through the lens of Christ and not thinking that we're better than because I'm not in that situation. Some people, I think, actually serve for that purpose, unfortunately, because it makes them feel good about where they are. Most likely they have a deficit that they're dealing with emotionally in their life. And they probably need to get that fixed, because you don't want to feel that deficit with serving, because that's not the whole purpose for doing it. So I'm going to say it's important that we look at every person through the lens of Christ, knowing that many of us have gotten second, third, fourth, and fifth chances.
That's great. Thank you so much, Lakita. You mentioned before that where our passion lies is usually the where we need to go. How do we connect with community leaders who are already making an impact in those spaces that we're passionate about?
Yeah, I'm going to say the best thing to do is use Google. Use Google. If you're passionate about women, I would search for local women's shelters, right? Or if you're passionate, like we are passionate about helping women to discover, develop, and activate their purpose, join Women of Purpose. If you are looking at, hey, I want to help women to lead and serve in their communities. One of the things that we did, we found out where there was a need, right? So we saw the poverty level in our local area is extremely, it's horrible more for women than it is for men. And so we were like, okay, we want to help solve that, right? So helping women to take places in leadership, or helping women to feel encouraged that guess what, they're more than enough. That was our focus, and that's why we formed Women of Purpose, because we want every single person to walk out and live out their God divine destiny. But if you're trying to connect that, find an organization in your through Google, right, in your local communities, and to also ask around, right? Local churches are a great way to find what nonprofits you can also deal with. And here's the thing too, it could just start simple as working at your local food bank. So maybe you don't have the thing yet, right? But start serving somewhere. So I would even say, working at your local food bank is a good way to start.
Awesome. Thank you. There's a question in the chat. What are steps we can take to begin advocating for our communities? And I believe you gave us some examples there to how to kickstart that. Is there anything you want to add to that?
I'm gonna say this too, pray. Like I believe in prayer, right? And so pray and ask God too to show you, hey, who do you want me to speak for? Right? What are the words that you want me to say? How do you want me to serve? Because he's so great. Like he knows everything and we don't. So in prayer is just a great way for you to ask for divine guidance and to get that. But definitely, again, you could Google local churches, find out through even local food banks, those types of things. Those are ways that you can definitely help. It can be too as simple as if your children are in school. If you have kids in school, PTAs, right? Those are great ways. That's advocating for students. Being on the board of the school that your kids go to. These are great ways that you can help to advocate. And there's so many different platforms, right? There's the elderly, there's children, there's those that are incarcerated, there's the homeless. There's so many people that are disenfranchised and don't have a voice. So I would tell you, you won't fail volunteering anywhere. First, you just need to start volunteering.
Just start. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question here for you, and we
Sure.
have time. So ladies, you can still keep submitting your questions. As women, right? What are some ways to safely develop and nurture relationships and partnerships out in the community when we're in predominantly male spaces?
Ooh, yeah. So here's the thing. Let's just be honest, right? Sometimes as women, we will feel, or I can personally say this has happened to me. I felt not as efficient, right? Next to my male partners. And so we have to be careful with our self-esteem, because what we'll do is we will discredit our ability and our giftings because of a lack of confidence, right? So you have these gifts, you have these abilities, God's given you them, right? But because your confidence level is low, and that could come from all different, kinds of things, maybe upbringing or just words that have been spoken on you. So we have to be careful that we don't let self-confidence stop us from doing what we need to do. Now, one thing, I love how Joyce Meyer says it all the time, do it afraid, right? Who cares, right? You may feel insecure. You may not feel 100% confident, but you know what? You do it anyway. I have a story. I remember one time I was invited to a board. I wasn't on their board of directors. I was just serving as a committee chair or a committee lead. And they asked me to come to the board meeting. They were doing some planning, and I was like, sure, I'll come to the planning. When I was there, I noticed several things. It was the youngest person that was there. I was the only African American that was there, and I was a woman. There were other women there, but wasn't that many. So immediately, my confidence is like, oh my goodness, no one's going to listen to you. Now, here's the thing, those are lies. So that's what you have to be really careful about. Some of the things that you're believing and that are causing you to make certain decisions, they're lies. They're not even true. It's not real. And so I had to make a decision. Do I partner with my fear and lack of confidence? Or do I partner with the whole purpose why I was there in the first place? I was invited. So if I was invited to sit at the table, which one am I going to partner with? Oh my goodness, I can't believe I think I'm the only one. Or am I going to partner with, hey, I was invited. You invited me here. I'm sitting right here at this chair, this table. And so I had to make this decision, and I made that decision, and I just started giving information, and I was fully participating. And Dee, I'll tell you, even in the middle of it, so this is where I want to show you, it's still not always going to be sunshine. So even though I did it afraid and I took that step, right? Even in the middle of it, it was like more noise was coming to me. Oh, they're not going to listen. Oh, they don't care. Da 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 da. Still had to continue to push past that. I was not going to partner with the low self-esteem, right? It's not my friend. And so by the end of that meeting, I kept going, right? And I gave and I shared what I thought were some great ideas. And I went to leave, and the executive director at that time, he came to me and he was like, hey, just wanted to let you know, we're grateful for your insight that you provided, and we want you to sit at this table. Right. Now, here's the thing. I had an invitation to go and participate, but by the time I left, I had an invitation to be on the board of directors. So what does that show you? It tells you this: do it afraid. Who cares if your thought tells you you can't do it? No one's going to believe you. No one's going to listen. Those are lies. You need to put lies in proper perspective. They don't belong there, and you keep going. Even when it feels like it's still like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you push past that, because you will experience that. And I'll be honest, even as you continue to lead and serve, you will feel that from time to time. You may have either counterparts, whether they're male or whether people who you feel like they're smarter than you or they have more money than you. You may always have that thought that comes to your mind, that you can't do this or you're disqualified because you don't have that. You just have to put it in a proper perspective and decide, who am I going to partner with?
That's great. Thank you so much. We have a couple more.
Sure.
Are you game?
Okay. I'm game.
Okay. What are some challenges in developing and maintaining relationships with community leaders and community organizations?
I'm going to say that probably the biggest challenge is organizations feeling like they are the one-stop shop and feeling like they can solve all of the problems. And so when you don't work in partnership with one another, you actually lose out on synergy, right? And you lose out on transformation. So if we want to build synergy within our communities, right, we have to partner and we have to work together. So I'm going to say that's one of the biggest opportunities that I see. Like a nonprofit be like, well, this is what we do. And then you don't share, right? Well, this is how we got here, right? I had the opportunity to talk to a pastor in the local area, and his mindset is just amazing, and how he shares information. He shares their wins and their successes of their congregation and how they did it. That's foreign for a lot of people because they want the success all to themselves. So I would say our greatest opportunity is partnering with one another. How can we do things together to make a bigger impact and a lasting impact? And I'm going to say that's probably the biggest hindrance of organizations, is trying to do it all themselves.
That's great. Earlier, when you were speaking, you mentioned the importance of building relationships, and you said, we can do more together. We can build together.
Yes.
So the idea of if fear coming in and saying, I can't do this. Well, you're right. You alone can't do it. So partner with someone else, work with someone else. And then that fear of, that pressure, because fear really comes from pressure, right? It's a pressure to perform, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once we understand what that is, And we're able to say to ourselves, you know what, I'm not doing it alone. So it's okay if I'm a little bit apprehensive on my own. When I lock arms with this person and this person, this organization and this, what we can accomplish is going to be more than even you as the individual even dreamt was possible. And that's how God designed it. I mean, Jesus walked around with disciples and he would send them to this. He wasn't, he didn't go to all the places, but then he commissioned them to go to Samaria and Judea and the uttermost parts of the world, because it's a us thing. We will accomplish it together. So I love that was you wove that thread in all the way through when you're speaking. That's so important, because especially as women, sometimes, again, that pressure, oh, I have to do this and have to do this, and we have a list and we have a this, and it's just like, if I don't do it, you feel like it's not going to get done. But it's not very kingdom, to be honest. And it's not the way we were designed. We were designed for community. We're designed for collaboration. We're designed for synergy. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, like, and and I'll just share this too, like, Dee, you have an amazing gift with words. You have an amazing gift with bringing things together and communicating. And so, guys, I will tell you, if I need something, I'm like, I need to bring something together, I'm going to go to the person who's gifted to do that, right? And so, like, even on our Women of Purpose team, we all have different gifts, talents, and ability. And when you pull that together, it's like a crock pot, like a roast in a crock pot. There's all these different ingredients and they come together and they make an amazing meal. And you know what else? It provides synergy, but it also gives grace. When we work together, there's grace in working together. The load is shared. And so some people, I think, are up all hours of the night trying to solve a problem, and the only thing they needed to do is call a friend, So call a friend, call a partner, get some rest.
I love that. Love that. If there are no more questions, we'll end it here, but just a couple more things with our wonderful speaker. Thank you so much again, Lakita, for sharing. This was an amazing time. I'm sure the other ladies took away a whole bunch of notes, just like I did. I'm confident of that. Just some reminders. Lakita was saying it's important to not just give a donation and not just give the one-time thing, but being hands and feet on the ground is one of the best ways to actually serve our communities. And this was just really, really powerful. I love the thread of building relationships, thriving together, learning together, understanding that servanthood is not just about the people you serve, but it's also, it allows you to be changed. And then you can even be a better advocate, a better person to serve, right? So it's all growing and learning together. So thank you so much. We are ready to go. We're going to do our homework. Remember, she said we have 1 week. We have one week to go and research. And again, what are you passionate about? What is that thing that if it's not fixed, it's going to drive you up the wall? What is that thing that you're like, oh my goodness, this just wrenches my heart? Like Lakita was saying, that is where you start. So that's your what. And then that will lead you to your where. Look at the other organizations that are already doing it or who you could partner with. So thank you again, Lakita. Thank you, ladies, for joining. Just a couple of reminders. Join our mailing list. If you want to know what's going on, what events are coming up next, information about our mentorship program, information about upcoming sessions, our conference next year. Woo-hoo, we're already excited about that. We're in planning mode over here at Women of Purpose, and we want you to stay informed. So please join our mailing list. We'll send you emails, we'll send you updates, and then you can speak back to us and let us know how we can help you, and we definitely want to partner with you. We are on social media. Please go ahead and follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. Again, our website is wopurpose.com. You'll see lots of information, our calendar, ways to give, ways to invest. We welcome that. So we just thank you so much for spending your Saturday with us. Thank you again to our beautiful Lakita for spending this time and sharing with us. We thank you. Be blessed. Go in purpose. Have a good day. Bye-bye.